Alright, welcome to another edition of What the Fuck, happenings in the atheist YouTube atheist community and Stickam fun. Yeah, anyway. Okay, yeah, Stickam. Yeah, pretty good night last night. A little disappointed the document 74 guy. He didn't get the end. The end was pretty good. Actually, the last 2 hours were pretty good. Um, but the whole night kind of moved along. It was alright. Pyro in the beginning, and, we argued that free will determinism stuff. I think I won the argument, but whatever. Um, and yeah, we didn't really. The theme was supposed to be, coming up with these 10 important ideas that human beings must possess, to do the human thing properly. Um, and yeah, there wasn't much added to my, just the facts, please. The biology thing, we're just psychology, no free will, determinism, suffering matters kind of crap. Um, they added something like girls are great, which is, pretty close to true. Yeah, probably needs to be qualified. They're great sometimes at certain things. Sometimes they're not so good. But anyway, what else? Yeah, so it's a good night though. Yeah, I mean, it seemed pretty, like you know, not a whole lot of dead spots and such. Anyway, um, I did a good Carl Sagan imitation at the end too, so I don't think that got captured. It's pretty funny. Billions and billions of humans fucking millions and millions of pigs for no accomplishment whatsoever. Well, anyway, yeah, that wasn't too good. Anyway, what do I want to talk about? All right, yeah, brain, thinking. Lots of videos on that kind of subject. I guess I'll start with conference report and to be serious. Well, first, conference report left some kind of comment on my determinism video, complaining that he never said anything that was kind of like in favor of any qualified belief in determinism. And then I pointed to the first minute of one of his videos where he basically just does that. And then he said something I didn't understand again, something about no one talks about apples being determined to hit the ground. I mean, do we have to go through this thing with words? I mean, but I mean, it's important because these words really do screw everything up. And Professor Anton basically again validated the archaic language. I mean, he doesn't even concede that our language was formed in a pool of ignorance. Human beings were pretty ignorant. They didn't know how the world works. They came up with a bunch of voodoo words that really have no explicitly accurate use. And they've sort of screwed our language in a lot of ways. A lot of ways we talk about things and has been ruined because of the ignorant origins of vocabulary and language. Um, so anyway, but yeah, the idea that this word determinism can get totally screwed because you do have this idea like he was determined to get the job done, which is sort of a willing word, that has more to do with an emotion than it has to do with a physical, like he was inevitably going to do what he did. That's not what it means. Determination, is like perseverance. And so that sort of messes up the word when it has more than one definition. So yeah, I mean, obviously you wouldn't talk about apples being determined to hit the ground. Um, but let's say there was two universes. In one universe, there was somebody sitting beside me, and I just jabbed these pliers into their head. And in this universe, none of that happened because there's nobody sitting next to me, and so there's no head to stick the pliers into. So there, they have two different universes. Um, what changed to make those two different universes? I mean, could you go back 10 minutes prior to that event and see what was different in those two universes, and then go back 10 minutes and go back 10 minutes? I mean, there are differences, and there's some point where, the causation trail has to change. And I would argue that that change has to just, you know, has to have a source. You can't just have change or difference that you couldn't isolate. So, well, whatever. I mean, there's just so many arguments that sort of logically prove determinism. Alright, so anyway, then to be serious, making videos about this vegetarian thing, but more, it got to be more about the subject of analogies and when they're appropriate and when they're not. I mean, when you're comparing things that you can't compare, and when you're just using similarity for the sake of similarity, and just saying, because there's jaws on this pair of pliers, I can now analogize it to a shark or some other thing that's really nothing to do with pliers. And that is sort of bogus. But they were talking about atheism, though, and there was good arguments. I mean, good points made in there. But what occurred to me was just that atheism is sort of like anti-bigot. I mean, the whole thing about the religion thing is this bigotry, this human glorification, this bigotry, just pettiness all over the place. And you can see the same thing in this meat-eating thing. I mean, it's another bigotry. That's all it is. It's just a fucking bigotry and an exploitation. It's a slavery. And on that subject, though, To Be Serious made some kind of comment like nobody's trying to force or outlaw meat. And I thought that was kind of lame. Because, yeah, the end result was going to be that. I mean, if there's only 20% of the population still eating meat, we're going to sit there and likely create laws against factory farming and laws against a lot of things that are going to make meat practical to eat. We've already done it, pretty much in animal welfare laws. It's pretty hard to do any, sacrifice a sheep in your front yard. You have to get permits and all this other kind of crap. You just can't do your little religious fucktarded nonsense anymore. So we've essentially outlawed crazy religion practice, and that's sort of what all meat eating is a crazy. It's like slavery. You wouldn't just be against slavery because you're against it. You'd be against it because you'd want to liberate the slaves. And there's a point where you're not going to say, especially when it's a minority of people that are still owning slaves, you're just going to say, well, fuck that shit, you moron. Grow the fuck up. Get with the program. So that's kind of a lame argument. There was a little bit of that in Romanian guy's video against vegetarianism, because he was being kind of nice too, and arguing that no vegetarians, want to, barbecue meat eaters, and I say they should get, they sort of deserve what they're imposing. I mean, it's not that hard to think about what you're doing and say, would I want somebody to do it to me? This is just basic, rudimentary functionality, is to be able to say, I don't like somebody, hurting me, so why should I hurt something else? That's not that hard to do, and you could almost argue that anybody incapable of that would have to be too dysfunctional, to be in society at all, in a way. So people must be able to do it, and they're just ignoring it. They're just saying somehow I'm better, or they're using some sort of rationalization, some sort of grotesque cheat of the argument to come up with some excuse why it's acceptable for them to impose pain on something else that they wouldn't want imposed on them, or to treat something how they wouldn't want to be treated. Yeah, I think it's perfectly reasonable to say they should get what they're given, because they're giving it not out of necessity, but merely out of pomposity, arrogance, pettiness, selfishness. Any bad human piece of character is the only thing motivating them. So fuck them. But anyway, all right. I don't want to get lost in that subject. What else? Thunderfoot. Okay, you made a video on telescopes. All right, now, first thing you say is, "Holy shit! What the hell?" But there was some value in it. I actually learned something. I remember I never really thought about lenses and how they distort, because of the different wavelength of the light. The focal length is changed between the ultraviolet and, say, the infrared. That those two extremes would have a different focal length. And so that explains why you get these, color halos around things, is because you're obviously not focused. Your focus is missed on the different wavelengths of light. You've only focused one wavelength, and the others are out of focus slightly. But that got me to thinking that, well, the solution to that problem, the one solution that he explained was, expensive. You just add more lenses that focus exactly the opposite. So essentially, you correct for the distortion in the focus by putting more lenses in that blur other stuff and focus precisely the stuff you want, the colors that were out of focus before. Well, anyway, or something like that. But I was thinking, the real solution is a mechanical solution, where the focus would be changed and, images would be taken and then those images would be combined. And he didn't even get into that at all. And to me, telescopes in this modern era should not even be about looking through an eyepiece and all that kind of crap. That is like so 1970s. Yeah, they should really be about maximizing this digital thing and time lapse and all of that crap. So you shouldn't even be doing the eyepiece thing. You should be doing the long exposure thing and creating images, with your telescope that would be so much more detailed and rich, because you can't really see a lot of stuff anyway unless you do collect the light over a long period of time. And so I think you should have talked more about how to maximize that potential. Maybe get a cheap video camera and attach it to a telescope and take advantage of the tracking software that exists, and whatever. But I mean, yeah. So it was a good video and some explanations about telescopes, but it really wasn't. Yeah, it was really kind of old. I mean, it was already archaic in my opinion. I mean, it was like old news. But anyway, yeah, should have been better. That's all I'm saying. Should have been better when I thought about it. But anyway, yeah, this whole idea of doing this stuff personally anyway doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense. They got these big, huge, monstrous, billion-dollar telescopes or whatever, million-dollar telescopes. You're not going to compete with that shit anyway. So why to go to all the trouble? It's not like you're going to see a UFO or anything. I mean, that stuff is billions of years old out there. It's really not going to do anything, really uniquely interesting in your telescope. It's going to do the same shit it's been doing for a long fucking time. So what else is there? Professor Anton. Let's see. Yeah, we made a response video, but yeah, like I said, he didn't get to the root issue here, which is that this language, and I even played a piece of my video and pointed out how I said things that imply something other than determinism. But I do it all the time. I say I all the time when I don't believe there's an I. I believe there's programs running, subroutines. So I mean, that happens all the time. The language is broken. I mean, that just, in my opinion, that proves my point. Where even though I am aware of it, I'm so conditioned by the language that I can't extract the words from my vocabulary, because it's just so hard to speak English that way. Because there's so many broken words. It's like half the words in our vocabulary are in some way or another broken. But that just reminded me that Modern Mystic made a couple of videos, haven't heard from him in a while. Yeah, we were on the same subject at the same time, independently of each other. It was sort of interesting, doing the brain thing and determinism and all that. And he made a couple of pretty good videos on the eye. In one of them, he was describing how you set up multiple eyes inside your brain. And it was just kind of funny, because it just sounded like the development of a conscience, like the little thing on your shoulder, And, yeah, I mean, that was sort of something I did, when I was, as soon as I was conscious, I was already nagging myself and already pointing out when I did things wrong and how I was a failure and an asshole. So I'd already set up an alternative personality inside of myself that was already, laughing and humiliating me. So I think it's sort of like just a thing you do, but it's sort of just, my point is none of that really happens. It's just subroutines, conceptual subroutines. And you can have software running that is your logic software, your high standard software, and you have low standard software, and you have penis software, and you have foot software. You have all this interested programming's running, and there are certain ones are going to get dominant. They're going to through the progression of of what gets endorsed by the collective that is all of your programs, whatever gets the most votes, will end up being you. That's the one that'll control the conscious space. But I sort of got that into that with Pyro, is that this consciousness thing doesn't do anything. It's just the witness. It's just the veneer that everything passes through. It's the plane that your subconscious routines flow through. But that's it. It doesn't do anything. All the decisions are made. All the choices are processed, and that's what they are. They're processed. They're not made. They're processed in your subconscious. You know, behind the scenes, not in front of you. You don't get to witness it. You only witness the product of it. Sorry, cat. Oh, he's getting old and needy. Oh, come on. Anyway, yeah. All right, yeah, that's probably enough. So, yeah, Void is she was in the room. She's nice to look at. But no Karina last night, and but yeah, like I said, it was a good night. There was a lot of good conversation, I think, and it seemed productive in some ways. Yeah, it seemed that way. What else? Anything else? Searching. See, I got the searching. You know, there's like a little Google program running, in their concept that just says, "Okay, I'm gonna go look now," and it just sits there and it waits. It sits there and says, "Come on, throw me an answer. Come on, links. What's linked to this? Stick cam. Yesterday, last night. What happened?" Well, right now I'm thinking about Google, so now it's not working at all. Whole thing's broken. Yeah, so I don't think there was anything else in the Stickam, and yeah, we did Thunderfoot conference report. There's some guy, a couple of new people posting videos, kind of off subject and whatnot, not really related, but I'll post links to them anyway. Not bad. And what else? Post links. Oh, Karina did make a movie review. A movie, she actually liked it. So that was interesting. Some movie, though, sounds a little bit silly, where they raise kids to be like, I don't know, body parts or whatever they do. I don't know what this theme is, but, whatever. There's some theme where they're going to inevitably not be able to live past being, 20-something. And, yeah, and so I guess it's just some sort of, and they have all the little soap opera romance crap in there. So, yeah, okay, maybe it's watchable. Whatever. Sorry, I fell asleep. Yeah, I'm really tired. Yeah, so I did a creature feature, I gotta finish those, and got other videos to make, and got things to do, and, I'm just way behind. Way behind now. Yes, this is, I'll sit here with a cigarette and I'll just be smoking this electronic cigarette and I'll just be hitting. And it's like, yeah, it's just not doing enough for me. And at the same time, it's like I used to be able to just smoke and do other things. And this, I just sit there and smoke it. And it's just such a waste of time. So I have to figure that out too. Anyway, and really, you don't need to know that shit. Personal life stuff. Yeah, I know there was something else I'm forgetting. I'm going to say, shit, I should have said that too. Alright, well, anyway, it doesn't matter. Till next time, and such, and so forth, and whatnot. And, oh, well, yeah, well, that's all. I don't need to say anything else. I don't need to. Oh, crank callers, that was it too, yeah, and the guy just wasted it, that's it too. See, I'm really tired. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, get a crank call. I ended up talking to the guy for over an hour. But it's totally wasting of time. They got on a subject of Obama, and it's like, what the hell is this hero worship with you people? The guy has done nothing. He stands for nothing. He represents nothing. He's just a nothing. Ugh. Anyway. What else? But yeah, I can't afford to be doing that. Shit. So anyway, till next time. Such. and so forth and whatnot. Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, I'm finished.